Proper story is supposed to start at the beginning. Ain't so simple with this one. Now here's a kid whose whole world got all twisted, leaving him stranded on a rock in the sky. He gets up, sets off for the Bastion, where everyone agreed to go in case of trouble. Ground forms up under his feet as if pointing away. He don't stop to wonder why. Finds his lifelong friend just lying in the road. Well, it's a touching reunion. He sees what's left of the rippling walls, years of work undone in an instant, in the Calamity. That a survivor? No, ma'am. It's a gas fella, forced out from underground. Kid pops him good. Fella got a piece of him, though. Kid just rages for a while. An old repeater falls out of the sky. Ain't a gift from the gods, but it'll have to do. Gotta hold her still to spin up the chamber. Kid's worked up quite a thirst by now, so that fountain looks real inviting. Sometimes you just need a drink. A school of squirts tunnels up around them. Must have fled here from the mines. It's a wonder the old saloon's still standing. Used to have the nicest view. He sets foot inside one of Zealandia's famous watering holes. Inside's old Rondi, the bartender. The Calamity got him before his drinking did. Then Kid finds his trusty shield. But just as he's getting a handle on it, the security takes him for a petty thief. shield saves his hide. Windbags start turning up for last call. More squirts start coming out of the woodwork. A big old fella pops out in front of the kid. Kid sees the way to the Bastion out the window. It's a bit of a drop. Ronde always wanted his ashes scattered here. He gets a good look at things on his way down. He lands on top of a breaker's bow, and it ain't broke. Kid spies a good perch for some target practice. He knows he should draw the string all the way back. The kid pockets a memento from a breaker, once the fastest man in the land. Right back at you. Good news is the emergency defenses still work. Bad news is they're aiming for the kid. Picks up a few pointers from a dusty old tome. He finds the distillery, right next to the arsenal. Tough part of town. One sip of the spirits in that distillery, and the kid'll feel like a new man. The arsenal's where the kid can pick the best tools for the job. Some of them squirts birthing like crazy in a couple of corn bins. That one was Maud, the tutor. Once taught the kid good manners. He never used them, though. An old ferry barge sends the kid on his way. The Bastion's real close now. Wasn't long before the kid could loose an arrow, strong and true. Kid takes a chunk of alloy. Smell of barley and spoiled blueberries fills the air. Scumbags. The kid maybe shouldn't have done what he just did. Robs a scumbag of his last meal. Kid puts him out of his misery. He finds the core to the wharf district. He steals the city's heart. Might as well. Kid has a feeling he better get a move on. The place is starting to fall. See, that core Kid took was the only thing making this particular rock stay afloat. Kid just keeps running. Somersaulting like crazy. At last, the Skyway is in sight. Whisks him where it needs to go. Now the kid sees something stranger still. His mind races. Did anybody else survive? Sure enough, he finds another. He finds me. We talk for a spell. There's a bit of the Bastion's power in that crest, enough to point the way to the cores. All I tell him is to set that core of his on the monument there, then watch. I try to let the kid down gently. This is the Bastion, all right, except no one else showed up. Ain't always much to say. And just like that, the Bastion comes alive. Starts growing again, growing stronger. Kid's gotta put its power to good use. Now the Bastion can send him even farther into the wild unknown. Kid ponders what to build. Bastion's a place of peace, but we can hold our own if we have to. A repeater goes with a hammer better than a box of nails. Kid don't know what's out there waiting for him. The Skyway. Now the kid can ride the wind to distant lands. Now he lands at the intersection between bad and wrong. Ought to be a core down one of these twisted streets. But which one? He heads for the squirt steps. Won't be no field trip this time. Scumbag can digest just about anything. Except for this. It's quick for slicing and light enough to throw. They say even the most rambunctious squirts can be tamed. No sign of the core here. At least the kid got something for his trouble. Squirts don't make the best of friends, but they can be useful in a pinch. Them squirts just don't know when to quit. He heads for the biggest dump in town. Scumbag alley. Some scumbag still feeding off the city's own trash. And there he is. The oldest scumbag of them all. Gershel. The Calamity ain't done much for Gershel's sunny disposition. Shame old Gershel can't float like when he was a young fella. The rest of the path is gone for good, and his city crest won't bring it back. No core, no surprise. Likely gas fellas are hiding it from him. Up north is where the gas fella foreman used to live, tending to his flock. No white gas fellas all dress alike. Kids wondering the same thing. And there it is, but it's locked down tight in an alloy cage. Blustery old foreman's keeping his fellas in check, almost like he's showboating for the crowd. And now there's a new marshal in town. He hears the whole place groan, but it's too tough to fall. Might as well check the other side streets before leaving this hole. He heads for the east side, where windbags used to keep the local forge. Somehow that old forge is still standing. Inside the forge, Kid can fine-tune those instruments of his. little Zolwood oil and that blade shines like a light. Kid's lifelong friends looking fit to keep on fighting. With a good length of meat gut, that bow's like new again. Kid's ready to go, and his ticket out's right where he started. Odd place to find the likes of Percy the Snitch. Never much cared for that big wide grin of his. He comes back, just like I knew he would. The core hums in his pack. The monument's calling for it. The windbags used to be all right. Then the Calamity took the floor out from under him. The repeater and machete, favorite choices of the Ura hunters we once fought. Kid does it again. Only fair he decides what we build next. A lot of things need fixing up in this world, and we can start right here. Picked up traces of other cores while the kid was out. In better days, the melting pot was sealed tighter than the skin on a squirt. Of all the plans to survive the Calamity, it had to be stab weeds. Blasted things hurt like a broken heart. If there's a core, he figures it ought to be deeper down. He cuts down every stab weed like there's gonna be a prize for it. Core's stuck inside one of those fancy cages. He throws a switch. Now what could possibly go wrong? Quite a bit, as it turns out. The cage starts lifting from the core ever so slow. Some of the stuff lying around is downright dangerous. All Kid can do is wait. Shipments start falling in. Not every squirt is born bad. Some spring to the kid's defense. Judging by the movement of the cage, it's gonna take a little while. Scumbags don't take kindly to interlopers. Even some gas fellas take his corner. Birdies pop that mean old foreman. At this rate, maybe 5 more minutes, maybe 30, hard to tell. Squirts get real territorial around the core. Then a shipment of free samples shows up. One thing's for sure, that cage is awful heavy. Troublesome scene, to be sure. It ain't all bad, as the kid finds some spices from the motherland, tax-free. A few moments left, and the core goes free. 10, 9, 8, 7, give or take a few seconds. Finally, the core's within reach. And done. He's got it. Just gotta get to the nearest barge. I still remember the look on his face after that one. The old world's finished, but the new world's just getting started. Folks voyaged across the boundless sea to found Calamity. It was good living here for a while. Ain't much kid can't handle with hammer and bow in hand. Turns out those old bones still have some spark in them. Makes time to sample spirits from my personal supply. Squirt cider will toughen you right up. Too bad about the musty aftertaste. Couples used to walk the sundown path. Kid ain't here for pleasure, though. But then, somebody gets to the core before the kid. Floor starts giving way under the lightest step. A single panic squirt could bring the whole place down. So could a reckless kid, for that matter. Fragments of the old world rain from the sky. Stray valuables are lying everywhere. Security's all fired up. See, the path was intended for leisurely strolling and such. Not so much for noise and tomfoolery. Sky bridges link the path together. One of them bridges whips the kid along. Air travel always was an iffy proposition. But Calamity changed everything, even where the wind blows. Well, if we mastered the winds in the old days, we can do it again. But the question is, who else could have taken the core? Well, ain't no survivor stole the thing. The scumbag ate it by mistake. Tough break. Unlike the kid, that core ain't coming back. They used to ship live munitions down the path. These wires to toss those things plenty far away. Even gas fellas need some shut-eye from time to time. They get real cranky when you wake them up. In all this toil, Kid keeps coming back to an overwhelming question. Who else could have survived the Calamity? So he didn't find the core that time, but that ain't about to stop us. A bow and a machete, every bit as effective as the fancier stuff. Windbag Ranch was built for gathering squirt extract in copious supply. Ain't nothing more healthful. Some folks showed up to make a fast buck with nothing but a knife. Other folks came to train their throwing arms. Slippery little devils. Still others use the place to test their finest blades. Kid cuts all of them down soon enough. Kid comes back from Windbag Ranch, smelling good and right. War machetes are so quick, you gotta keep a good grip on them. The Breaker Barracks. Many straight shooters learn their way here. No place better than Trapper Shingle for learning to tread light and shoot straight. Trappers had to tread real careful here, else take a nasty fall. They train themselves by clearing out the targets, while not clearing out the floor. Any good trapper knows never to take a step till the time is right. Expert trappers got something extra to give them an edge. Kid decides to keep working his aim and footwork on the shingle. Best time to pick a new spot was when swapping magazines. To think a rickety place like the Shingle survived, when so little else did. That ought to make those fangs sink in nice and deep. The dead welcome him with open arms. The Calamity took everybody after all. Kid sees it plain, frozen faces all around. He don't much care to see him, not like this. These folks never saw the Calamity coming, but someone did. Someone close. Someone who ain't like Mr. Beckley and his kindly wife. It was someone like him. Kid sees him there agape, in the flesh. It's a snag or two trying to get to him. He ain't about to stop, no matter what. He's got too many questions after all. Just ain't got time for answers. The Thunder brothers didn't make it. They never saw what it was like beyond the walls. Nordy, the bird boy, didn't make it. The Jawsons, they didn't make it. Grady Sr., Grady Jr., they didn't make it. But him, he survived. Kid finds proof enough that man ain't from around here. Just think, without that man, we wouldn't be here right now, would we? The core survived as well. Kid does what he has to do. And then, what do you say to a man who's seen too much? Kid hasn't a clue, but he says this. We have to go. Please. He's a proper gentleman, that man. His name is Zolf. No hiding he's an Ura, Folks like him ain't never been a common sight in Caelandia. He's relieved to see a living face or two. The kid and I introduce ourselves in kind, both to him and to each other, for the first time. For Zolf, Caelandia was like a second home. He's real worried about his first home, too, far to the east. We all lost loved ones in the Calamity, he says. I don't know how I'm gonna go on without mine. He was born in the Tazil terminals. The Ura sent him on a mission of peace to our city, and he's lived here ever since. We fought the Ura decades ago, but that was then. Things are different between us now. Dread realms brewed from swamp weeds, so its effect is as bold as its flavor. Kid ain't finished here yet. The cores, they remember. That's why this place is coming together. That's why things are gonna be all right. Well, look what we have here. The lost and found. Here, kid takes fragments of the old world and makes them whole again. All it takes is some fragments, and the Bastion makes it good as new. We tracked down a couple more cores near the edge of the city. No use praying to the gods these days. No time for it either. Pith orchard. Place is a dead end in more ways than one. Folks used to make pilgrimage here to pay their respects to Pith, the bull. Well, the gods are long gone now, and the orchard core is long gone too. Seems Pith ain't much of a watchdog. The gods don't care about trinkets, but the kid ain't no god. Pith stood for something once. Something real. In time, though, the bull stopped being a symbol and started being decoration. He couldn't even save his loyal subjects. Pith makes a decent scarecrow, at least. Then Pith lights up like a rodeo. Ain't easy punching through his hide. Kid breaks him to bits. Must have been guarding that shrine. So what'll it be? Invoke the gods, or tell them off? Pith. Kid decides to press his luck. Well, if the gods are alive, they must be plenty sore. Kid ain't never seen windbags that quick. Maybe old Pith put a scare in him. Kid passes Pith's trial, and he's richer for it. Kid ain't found a core, but at least he found Zolf's precious shrine. Now we can build a shrine of our own, though I got some alternatives in mind. Zolf doesn't touch the thing. Says the god of commotion is no children's toy. Turn around and round all you like. Pith's still gonna be ugly. Ura feared the gods. We turned them into toys, put their faces on our walls. Fetching fizz is like a mouthful of nails, but the benefits are worth it. There's only one way to Cinderbrick Fort. The hard way. Sure, the city marshals may be gone, but now the fort's crawling with windbags. The Calamity was mercy, normal folks. The windbags ain't so lucky. They've been left to freeze, or starve, or face the kid. Well, windbags young and old keep fighting for the fort. Windbags ain't much different from normal folks. All they want's a warm place to stay and a decent meal. The Calamity drove the windbags topside. A lot of them wound up here in this very fort. been minding the business underground like in the old days. Windbags can't use the marshal's supplies, but the kid sure can. As for the windbags, Cinderbrick gave them enough heat and metal to munch on for a while, but the fort ain't theirs by right. Can't blame them for wanting it, though. So many of those sorry things hold up inside that old fort. Not a scratch on him as he presses on to higher ground. Kid's blasting everything in sight with that newfangled musket. Kid's stash of grenades is there for him if things get even worse. Security's plane gone haywire. Windbags gummed up the works. Kid ain't afraid of getting burned. trapped the kid in the middle of the force parade grounds. Then they bring out Glutus and Glandon and all their scumbag uncles. They got something to gain, and only their sorry hides to lose. Kid takes down Glutus. Or maybe it was Glandon. The other big fella soon joins his brother, wherever they are now. The windbags finally get the message. Kid used to dream of getting a marshal's badge, but not like this. And now ain't nothing left for nobody down at Cinderbrick Fort. Kid shows up just as Zulf's telling me about his own journey to the city. Seems the only thing the Calamity saved for Zulf was a smoking pipe. Zulf's travels ain't much compared to what the kids had to go through for all this. The marshals seem like good men, he says. They treated him with dignity. Zulf brought his antique smoking pipe all the way from the terminals. Anything survives a musket shot ought to be quick work for that blade. You want to tune a scrap musket, you start with the barrel. Points just don't get any sharper than that. Even since the Ura surrendered to us, the marshals kept a wary eye on him. Behold, the Pantheon. Poor kid collapses after just one drag. Only good thing ever come out of the past is history. The past catches up with the kid. Hardly had a moment's rest since all this started. Fair to say he's led a hard life, supposing what he says in his sleep ain't no lie. He never knew his old man, but he had his mama to take care of. Frail thing with pure white hair like his. Having his mama's hair did the kid no favors while he was growing up, but he learned to hold his own out there. School ain't working out, so the kid signs up for a turn on the rippling walls. Make his mama some money. Thanks to folks like the kid, the walls kept Caelandia safe from whatever's out there. The elements, the Ura, you name it. Once the kid done his time, he hurried on home. Turns out his mama's time was done too. The city had nothing for him. The money he'd been sending home was nowhere to be found either. So what'd the kid do? Why, he went right on back to the walls for another 5 years. In the history of Caelandia, Nobody's ever volunteered for a second shift on the walls. Out there, kid learned to fend for himself, learn to build, learn to break. In time, the kid earned good standing with the marshals. They trusted him to scout out farther than anybody. One night, on one of his expeditions, the ground beneath him shuddered, cracked, and split apart. He saw nothing where the world used to be. The Calamity happened just like that. All the kid had to work with was his hammer and the clothes on his back. Through twisted streets, he ran with nothing but the city crest and an old stranger's voice to guide him. Willie finally arrived at Caelandia's vaunted safe haven. He and no one else. But then, all they got was more thankless work from a man who ain't even asked his name. Sure, I may be the one who dreamt up the walls and the Bastion, but the kid made them real, not me. was I saying? Anyway. I'd like to say I'll never forget him, or what he's doing, what he's done. I surely would. The marshals learned to pack those shells full of fire.